Good evening, everybody. Just hanging out tonight. I guess it's been a week of final days before legalization. This is your final Monday before legalization in Canada. The last Monday, and what have we got? 2 more sleeps, Monday, Tuesday. Wednesday, we wake up and it's legal. I don't know what that means to you guys. Hey, Michael Louis J, and I'm Molly Girl. What's going on? How was your final Monday of prohibition in Canada? And what are you smoking on, eating tonight? What are you vaping? What's going on out there? Dre Snap 403. I'm assuming that's Dre Snap and not Dr. Esnap 403. So, given my history, I think I know who Dr. Dre is. I'm not that old yet. Tonight, this evening, we are smoking on some Sour Secret Strawberry Banana from Kootenai Craft. I still maintain some of the best cannabis in Canada, therefore some of the best cannabis in the world. This is a really nice strain. Kootenai Craft is very, very high quality cannabis, and I keep getting more and more testimonials from people that know more and more and more about cannabis than I do. So Kootenai Craft, you're in good hands there. It's gray market, soon to be black market, so you're going to have to make the decision yourself as to whether or not you continue to order from some of these craft and boutique growers despite the fact that they're going into a darker gray to black market, or if you're going to buy from the legal system. I don't condone or discourage either. That's kind of not right. I condone and I provide my insight and testimonials and support for specific craft growers. Craft growers used to mean those that are not included in the LP system. Now it actually means that they may be part of the LP system, they may be part of the non-LP system, they may be trying to get into the LP system, and they may have been completely locked out of the LP system. Regardless, craft doesn't encompass the black market or gray market anymore as a term. I continue to use gray market because black market I just find is a little too harsh on the people that have a place in this space that just didn't quite get in under the wire or might be struggling a little bit to figure out what the right way to go about getting in under the wire is. And I know there's people out there to help them, but this has been a massive shift for a lot of the pioneers in our industry and the people that have got us here. So with that being said, I really do hope that you accept the help that is out there to somehow get into the legal framework. Myself, chances are I still will be ordering from the gray market. After October 17th, I'll probably be trialing as well some of the unknown brands that are in the stores. I'll be honest, I'm likely going to be much like yourselves if you're experienced cannabis users. I don't want to set anybody up for failure. The cannabis is unlikely to be anywhere near as good as probably what you've been getting at home. Again, I don't really know what the cannabis is like. Can maybe everybody let me know where they're from? If you're out there and willing to have a little bit of a discussion here, where are you from? And if you're not getting your cannabis from the medical system or the legal regulated system as it stands today, I don't need to know where you're getting your cannabis. Feel free to share that if you like, but let me know, do you feel that it is exceptional quality? Do you feel that your cannabis is of a clean standard, that the quality is there, the trichomes, it's sticky, it's well loved and taken care of? Or do you find that what you're getting right now in the non-regulated black market, gray market, illegal, whatever the hell you want to call it, are you finding that you're not getting quality cannabis? I'm curious because I live in a bubble. I live in a bubble of Instagram and surrounding myself with people in the cannabis industry. Then I live in Vancouver, which is a bubble around that bubble. And then there is the rest of Canada, which is coming online. Vancouver's been online for 10, 15 years. And as far as high-end retail shops are concerned, it's been going strong now for about 2 years, and they've only been getting more beautiful aesthetics, better design. Some of them are crap. Some of them are pop-ups. Some of them don't belong in this space. And some of it sure shit doesn't belong in your lungs, your stomach, your system, period. So definitely try and vet. Not all dispensaries are made alike. Not all cannabis is grown alike. Not all cannabis is cured alike. Not all cannabis is stored alike. So yeah, definitely DM if you want some help as far as dispensaries go. But that's, again, a thing of the past as of 48 hours from now. Less than 48, 36, whatever the hell it is. Even less than 36. What are we at? 30 hours now? Less than that. So, my insight may fall by the wayside a little bit, given everybody else is going to have full access or eventually full access to everything that I've had access to the past couple of years. So, interested to see what your guys' feedback are. Again, if there's anybody out there that wants to share their cannabis experiences currently, if it's some kid riding around on the back of a BMX bike, if it is mail order, if it is something local grower to your town. I don't really have a great understanding as to what's going on in the smaller areas in Canada, so please feel free. Nobody's narking you here. I'm not a narc. I'm just simply trying to figure out, is it cannabis you're going to get in the stores come Wednesday and beyond, because most of the stores aren't going to be open to begin with? Is it going to be up to your standards? I'm not sure that it's going to be. I'm really curious to find out if that's the case. Anybody else in all the other provinces get one of these? I wish they had a, hey, Instagram, can you make like a filter that just simply fucking mirrors when you flip it around, so I can show people exactly what's being written here instead of... Anyways, I'm ranting. This isn't for any specific purpose, so I don't really give a shit. I'll just stand on whatever soapbox I find. I hope I don't offend anybody in the process. Edmonton, moms. Awesome, Iris. Thank you. Little sprout growing there. I order online too, Mimi. Dad Mandarin, where are you getting your cannabis? Is it some kid on a bike? Is it online? How is the quality, guys, too? The Edmonton and the moms, Iris, what's the quality like? Mimi, tell me some quality stories. So why don't we go through the little safety pamphlet here? Unless you're, I don't know, you're missing a cornea, or I should know, I worked in ophthalmology for close to a decade. Dr. Paul, if you're watching this, don't be disappointed in me. But yeah, if we remove our cornea, I suspect this might start flipping back around on you. So unless you're surviving cornealess, then you won't be able to read this. So, safe kids, first and foremost. That's basically what Health Canada is doing with their regulations. Health Canada isn't going after anybody. Health Canada isn't a judge, jury, executioner. Health Canada isn't there to throw people in jail exactly. They're not a judicial force. That's not why they exist. There's a lot of misconception on that front. The reason Health Canada is at the forefront of all of this and not our justice system, or more importantly, I guess, probably in the background of all of this is CRA. That's a different story, the Canadian Revenue Agency. Why is Health Canada there? Because really Health Canada, with the implementation of cannabis in Canada, the reason that Health Canada is involved is to keep it out of the hands of kids, and it's basically harm reduction. One second. Got to keep this home fire burning. Oh, this is now upside down. So it's keeping it out of the hands of children, harm reduction, things like that. The good news is, from a harm reduction standpoint, it's really just keeping it out of the hands of kids. From an addiction standpoint, I mean, the only cohort so far that, outside of being an exceptionally lazy person to begin with, is somebody that has the potential to exacerbate schizophrenia. Now, that's not the only one, I'm sure, but that's the most prominent one. So yes, there are people in their adult years that should be refraining from using cannabis for obvious reasons. From a mental illness standpoint, again, I think we need to be, as much as it helps, we can't just sit there and say, smoke a doobie and go relax, Mr. Anxiety, because that's not how it fucking works either, right? So enough with laying claim that cannabis does everything for everybody, because it doesn't. I do believe that there is a proper mix of cannabis and terpenes and cannabinoids and all that fun shit. That there are biological markers in everybody that are going to work with cannabis to resolve a shit ton of issues out there, a shit ton of issues. The edibles have been total duds. Oh, you guys having your own conversation? Awesome, I hope so. Black Market Calgary. Dre Snap, is it good quality? Is it good quality? Tokebox Club, Dabman Darren, very nice, man. And they've got some fucking killer cannabis, too, for sure they do. I think I saw the Strawberry Cough recently, which I haven't tried yet. So I got to rattle a few cages over there. But those guys have been rad to us. They've been really rad to the community as well. Iris loves the term rad, and that's rad, I think. But seriously, Tokebox is fucking phenomenal. What a great group of people. They're in it to win it, and they're in it for the people. There was another like passion over profit term that I came up with today, or at least mentioned. I'm sure it's been used before. Compassion over capitalism. Is that it? Consumer over capitalism. So there's another one. So anybody that's in it for the right reasons, I'm a big fan of, and Tokebox definitely is. So, yeah, the edibles can be hit and miss. They're more fun in a lot of cases, and it depends too on your. Like Iris, I know you can get pretty whacked from THC, edible THC. So I think a lot of it comes down to the dosing, how much you actually need. I know people that can consume hundreds of milligrams, and there's small frame females. Not to be all misogynist or whatnot. I'm not really. It's simply the size of the human being. You would suspect that the shorter, the smaller, the lighter, the more petite human would get absolutely rocked depending on how much is in it. If I took 200 milligrams versus my 100-pound friend taking 200 milligrams, the outcome should be a hell of a lot different. But sometimes you're picking up the 6'8" guy, 450-pound wrestler off the ground after a 5 milligram gummy, and his girlfriend's dancing on his chest with 300 milligrams that he didn't finish. So it's unpredictable. And the same goes for going back to what I was saying earlier about how everything reacts to everything else. This is the other fascinating part about legalization, is that it's going to open up a lot of doors from a research perspective, and it's going to legitimately answer a lot of questions. Some we may not want to find out. Those of us who smoke flower as a traditional way, old school way of doing it, there's a lot of people that are moving towards vaping. I don't want to say they're moving away from flower, just towards cannabis somewhere. But, you know, we may find that smoking is worse for your health. And why wouldn't we? One is combustion, the other is vaping, but who knows? We may find something completely opposite. At the end of the day, though, answering questions like these that take out any kind of guessing, assumptions, or faith-based feeling on what cannabis can and can't do, that's pretty fucking awesome. So anybody else from the 80s or born in the late 70s, early 80s, what do you see here? What do you see here? If you see this, don't worry about the text. But like here and here, if you just saw this quickly, which VHS tape am I picking off the wall at Blockbuster? If you saw that quickly, which one? Which one? And the winner, if you're from Vancouver, or if you're not, just the next time you're in Vancouver, is going to win a camel pack from Flower, because I don't hike. I am white and I don't hike. Okay, so it does happen. It does happen. There are Caucasians in Vancouver that don't hike. I'm one of them. Flower gave me this phenomenal, I don't know. I don't really know what quality is. It's swag at the end of the day, but it was a pretty nice piece of swag. So if anybody can tell me, first one, if I was running through Blockbuster 10 years ago and had some old school movie, which one is it? What's the reference here? Who do you see? Let's see. That might have been answered by now. Anybody? Beta? What the hell's Beta, Davman Darren? Oh, you mean a beta? No, I don't mean, yeah, what kind of, now we're really tripping down a rabbit hole here, man. Now we're really, well, we're dating ourselves, but no, it definitely is sized like beta, and this one is definitely VHS by comparison, but no, I truly mean the actual cover. Come on, anybody? It was a legit movie. If I have to start listing off names, I lived on an acreage. I grew up on an acreage. I didn't have any animals outside of a dog and gerbils and stuff, so it's not like I was out tending to anything most of the time. I was usually tending to my video games, or I was tending to movies, and usually the same movie over and over and over and over again, simply because that's either all I had, or I had it for a 24-hour period, so I'll be fucking damned if I didn't watch it a dozen times. You know, I'm going to get my value out of it. So if this seems weird that there is a movie reference on the cover of that, that I'm pretty sure they didn't mean to make, but anyways, if you can pick up on it, let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to keep that camel pack and I'm going to start hiking. Fuck the grouse grind, by the way. Kudos to anybody that likes to do that regularly, but holy shit. Glutton for punishment. Anyways, maybe I'll just give it away on the grouse grind, except those people are fucking hardcore. They'd see right through that piece of swag. So quality better than Spectrum. Sorry, I'm going through a few of these things because we're not really having to get to anything. I'm just kind of talking shit right now. You have Cartridges on, you Dab Mandarin, met Tokebox at Hempfest this past week. Yeah, they're a great group, dude. So Tokebox, definitely a good group. Look into them. Subscription service, I mean, you don't have to have a subscription service, but it is kind of nice to have something pop in once a month, once every few months for you to top up on. So Bedrocan is what you're burning now, Mimi. I can attest to Bedrocan. That has some fucking incredible terpene profile on it. It's sour as fuck. If it is the actual Bedrocan, proprietary Bedrocan strain. Medical secretary, oncology, and senior clerk. Big, very nice. It really is one of the best medicines, absolutely. And I mean, even if it is just giving somebody some form of hope or some form of just basic relief. I mean, even just if the THC or the cannabis doesn't start reversing your cancer or halting tumor growth or anything like that, at the very least, I suspect you're going to have a more relaxed, more... what's the word I'm looking for? Just as far as approaching life in general, unless it's a scary situation, obviously, they can't handle the THC, it's going to provide some form of therapeutic benefit regardless, even if there isn't a systemic benefit or a benefit specific to oncology. There's always going to be a benefit. CBD as well, I'm a huge believer in. I do truly believe that it does take an edge off from anxiety. That's something that I do suffer with myself, and I think that a lot of people do suffer with some form of mental illness at this day and age, and I think it really comes down to the fact that we're being a lot more cognizant of it. We're all a lot more aware that it exists, and dear God, we keep losing people, very good people on this planet that we would think never would ever have the, you know, and this goes back to the old Marilyn Monroe. Why would somebody who had everything in the palm of her hand kill? How selfish. It's like, well, fuck, enough with that selfish bullshit. Fuck that noise. If somebody had all of those things and really felt that taking their life was the only solution, I feel so sorry for them. I feel so sorry for them, and it's not to say that cannabis would have resolved anybody's issues in the past. That is far too simple a solution for anybody to lay any kind of brush over. But if cannabis can in some way, shape, or form support somebody's mental health, physical health, but specifically mental health, I am a huge advocate for that. I mean, that's something I think that cannabis is truly going to help trigger, or not trigger, excuse me, but it's going to identify and start supporting in a lot of therapeutic ways mental health, and I can't wait for that. And that's even shown from an addiction standpoint. Addiction is a mental disorder. It's a physical addiction as well as a mental addiction, and we're seeing cannabis support that. And how it's doing it, I'm sure somebody has an inkling to it. I don't. I need to do more research myself, but shit. That's a huge indication that we're tripping over and tripping down a rabbit hole that at the end of this, we're going to have some phenomenal results, and something that is really going to speak to a lot of the conditions that are plaguing us right now. Coming from Vancouver, I don't want to start getting into what's going on the downtown east side, because if you're not aware, holy shit, it's horrible. Let's just say cannabis, I really hope to see some massive improvements in the downtown east side. We've already started seeing a lot of harm reduction as a result of cannabis. The studies just keep coming back positive time and again. So, Mimi, you got it. You got it. It is Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Up in Smoke, very good movie, but no, so yeah, it's something. Well, go ahead and Google it. I guess I shouldn't incur, but it's exactly Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Fucking Rick Moranis, and I have no clue who the hell was over there. Was it Honey, I Shrunk? Yeah, it was Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. I was like, wait a minute, was it that movie with the fucking plant? No, it's not. It is Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Mimi, DM me if you can. Let me kind of know where you're at in the country and all of that, and we'll see what we can do about getting you this bag. I do like meeting everybody face to face. This was kind of just threw it together here. But DM me, let me know what's going on, and we'll figure shit out. I like to travel too, and I like to go across Canada, so maybe I'll come find you at some point. Up in Smoke, great movie. Yep. Great movie. Never Ending Story. That's a pretty rad movie. And I really should watch that again after doing a few dabs, to be quite honest, because between nostalgia and just kind of like, holy shit, yeah, I remember all that, and holy shit, I wish I was riding some stuffed animal. Yeah, we could have a lot of fun with that, I think. What is the best weed? The Pot C1. Holy shit. All right, so here's the best weed. What? I mean, qualify that. We're going to talk about the gray market, and then we're going to talk about what may or may not be available in stores come October 17th. So from the gray market perspective, which again, as far as all the LPs are concerned, the best in the gray market, is untouchable, and you're going to hear a little bit of kickback. And from what I understand, this was an isolated incident, but CE head office, CE_head office on Instagram. Their cannabis truly is next level. I've been told that they use Nova, but I've also been told by them that it was an isolated incident. At the end of the day, it is phenomenally beautiful cannabis. It fucking works. You're getting strains like peanut butter breath, meat breath. What did I get? Skittle cookies and do-si-do, which is not such a uncommon strain right now, but by gum, these guys know how to do it well. And they have basically a boutique level, and then they have quads, and then it goes down from there. And this boutique cannabis, it is quite expensive, but it's strange. Every single time I do smoke this stuff, it smokes pretty damn well. And it works really well, and the terpene profiles are so rich and layered. It's quite wonderful. Second to that, well, not even second to that. All three of these are probably in the same category for me, anyways. Top leaf. If you've paid any attention to my stories in the past, Top leaf is a consistent favorite of mine. They've gone offline, and they will be back shortly after October 17th. So we're probably talking about 4 months or so. 4 months out after October, about February, we should be seeing them back online as a online dispensary or online retailer of cannabis. Their terpenes are just untouchable terpene profiles. The oranges that they had, the Tangelope, the Orange Crush, and the Tangerine Dream. I don't know that I've ever had something so pleasant, something that I'm just so drawn to. Terpenes, they've nailed it. The concentration of the terpenes, the notes, the bouquets, the fruitiness. When it's sweet, it's fucking sweet. When it's sour, it's fucking sour. I mean, somebody out there, Iris, you can attest to this, but I'm hoping most people can. I hope you have had the opportunity to try Top Leaf. So from the gray market, they were one of my favorites, but possibly all-time favorites, simply because they kind of hit every single note that I wanted. Terpene, cannabinoid profiles, THC, all of that. Third to that is Kootenai Craft, and that's the one that we're smoking right now. There's a Sour Secret Strawberry Banana. Kootenai Craft, extremely well curated, loved cannabis. So that is the best. From a LP standpoint, people aren't, I'm going to be doing some video shorts, like 1 minute, and posting this stuff. I keep saying that. I may just do one long live session like it's a news report, but best cannabis out there, number one, and I'm pretty sure still is, even if it slipped a little, is Broken Coast. So when you're in the stores on October 17th or whenever the hell the stores open up for you guys, Broken Coast is what you're wanting to look for, hands down. There's nothing out there that really touches it or compares to it from an LP standpoint. And it is the only one that I would ever have at any point put against some of the best craft cannabis. It's boutique. It's on Vancouver Island. It's BC Bud. It's some people shit on the fact that their basic strains is not much interesting with the genetics, but what they do really fucking well. It's hand trimmed, at least it used to be, and it is hand trimmed fucking well. The nugs, on a typical, they're longer containers and a little bit thinner than these ones. These are quite stout and thick. The other ones are a little bit thinner, but it would basically, the entire bud I'd have to pull on sometimes because it would scratch its way up the side because it's fucking that thick. And I'll be honest, a lot of the shit that I've been getting from a lot of the LPs is just it's not even up to any standard whatsoever, let alone the standard of Broken Coast. Broken Coast is what you're looking for, first and foremost. Second to Broken Coast, I'm going to have to say is Whistler Medical. Unfortunately, that doesn't make it sound as though it's going to be available in stores if they're still calling it and haven't rebranded anything. And if anybody out there knows if Whistler Medical has rebranded as a recreational brand or an adult use brand, I'd really like to know, because that truly is it's your second best cannabis in the country. Nothing, and it comes close. I wouldn't even say it comes close to Broken Coast. And anybody that shits on Broken Coast hasn't obviously tried enough of the LPs out there, because if you're satisfied with some of them, my mind is blown that you wouldn't be satisfied with Broken Coast. Third to that is probably, fuck you guys, you know what, it's going to be Aurora. It's going to be Aurora. From what I understand, Aurora doesn't irradiate, and if they do, they're using something that doesn't completely fry the stuff. Gamma radiation tends to affect the terpene profiles, especially if it's been cured improperly or too long. Again, this is from my understanding. I'm not a grower myself, so this is just kind of playing telephone. But the gist of it is this, that irradiation and just improper curing and all of that jazz will strip the cannabis of its terpene profile. You strip the cannabis of its terpene profile into monoterpenes, you've stripped the purpose or exactly how that strain is supposed to act and react with your system, so the terpenes play a huge role. So Aurora, you don't want to hear that because there's a lot of people out there that are pretty pissed off with the big LPs, and unfortunately, and here's a little snippet, here's a little sneak preview anyways, some of your best cannabis is coming from the people that you hate the most, or we've hated the most, or that we feel we should be hating the most. And that's, and maybe I'm putting words into a lot of people's mouths, but the word tweed, the word canopy, the word aurora, the word Tilray, these strike a lot of really negative thoughts and feelings in a lot of people, right? So Jay and Silent Bob, I'm going to keep some stuff positive amongst the negatives here. Well, it's not negatives, it's just how this might be received. I notice I've lost a few followers recently, and I suspect that's simply because I've had to start not advocating for LPs, but just identifying more so where we're going and where we're heading. And a group like Top Leaf has made it into the legal system. I'm not going to shit on them simply because they're legal now. I think that's absolutely stupid and asinine. And it is stupid and asinine. And if you're unfollowing me because I followed people into the fray, or some other people have followed these folks into the fray and that they didn't want to sit on a side of the fence and put two middle fingers up. Now, that kind of animosity I don't think needs to be going. I think we can all be working towards something better, something within a legal framework. There are micro-cultivation licenses coming out, albeit I completely understand that there are massive issues with that, given that some of them have already been allocated to LPs, and you're kind of like, why the fuck is an LP being allocated anything with respect to a micro-cultivation license when these these micro-cultivation licenses are being given for the express purpose, or at least what we thought was the express purpose, of bringing these smaller growers on board and giving them an entry or an access point to legal cannabis. Again, we'll see how this plays out. We'll see how this rolls out, but I'm sure as shit not going to shit on others for trying to become legal and provide us with better cannabis and better cannabis options. Because you know what? I know I'm going to be traveling at some point, and fuck, I forgot to pack my cannabis. I don't have it with me, whatever the case may be, and I want to land in a store knowing that I can get Top Leaf or I can get Kootenai Craft. And if Kootenai Craft wants to become legal, I want to support them in doing that. Same with CE, but I doubt, I mean, they're a distributor, but I doubt that they're going to, I doubt there's a lot of people that are going to go that route, at least not right away, because let's be honest, the black market is going to have a heyday after October 17th. Let's check in on some things. Do some snack reviews when I'm high. Yes, I can do that. My snacks can be fairly boring. I like plain rippled chips. They're pretty fucking rad. I also really appreciate Pocky. I live on Robson, so it's quite there's a lot of Asian influence, Japanese and Korean especially, so that's really cool. I love the Japanese market up the way. The Doctor Who locked me up in the cuckoo house because of THC in my blood test. Didn't even know what CBD. Okay, well, shit, Mimi. Holy shit. That sounds, yeah, that's absolutely maddening. You sound like you're from the U.S. or something, Mimi, and I don't mean that in a bad way. Just like you're getting locked up for fucking, well, I guess that's not surprising, but it's like you're getting, not locked up, but sent away for having THC in your blood. It's like, that sounds crazy, man. Where the hell is that happening? We got to stop that shit. Bodie McBoatface. Oh, well, then you got to be from Canada then, Mimi. Then, Jesus God, let's get amnesty. Hashtag amnesty on you if you're honestly fucking, you got some kind of record because you had THC in your blood. How stupid is that? All right. Well, I'm gonna find out where Valleyfield is here, Mimi, and we're gonna have a heyday one of these days. We're gonna smoke a joint. We're gonna give you a backpack. So why don't we dig into this one a little bit more here? Safe kids, you must be 19 years or older to buy, possess, use, or grow cannabis in BC. If I sound facetious, I'm not. This is just kind of, yeah, it's that time of day. There's a ban on smoking or vaping cannabis in playgrounds, fair enough. Schools, fair enough. Outside of university campuses, hey, fuck UBC, you guys are awesome. Like, fucking awesome. Awesome. SFU, you got some fucking work to do. The rest of the schools I don't really know, but I know that UBC is going to allow smoking cannabis wherever cigarettes are allowed, I believe is the rule. And that's really fucking sweet because you know what? That should be allowed. I think you still get kicked off of SFU campus. You'll lose your goddamn right to be a student there if you smoke cannabis. And I don't know if that's changing, and I'm sure we'll have to in some way, shape, or form. Once it becomes legal, but come on, get your shit together, man. These people are adults. These kids are adults, you know. Fuck, they're 18 plus, and I'm from Alberta, all right. So what? You're 18 years old. Yeah, you're fit to go to war. You're fit to vote. Well, fuck. Let's play. I like seeing you kids in the bars. You know what? You're old enough. You're old enough for that shit. So you're certainly old enough to decide if you require cannabis or would like to enjoy cannabis. Well, you're standing outside of some fucking bar that's been licensed, and I'm not shitting on drinking either. It's just simply let's make some fucking sense here. If we're gonna apply some dumbass rules. I mean, seriously. SFU, take a page from the book of UBC. Take a page from the book of UBC. So I hope my brother-in-law who goes to, well, sort of my brother-in-law who goes to UBC, I hope legalization will encourage you to spark one up, and I really, really hope your mother's not watching right now. In Montreal, you are really restricted, man. Like, I haven't even cracked into that. It's like almost like reading some kind of comment of Trump's, where it's like, I just don't want to get angry about how somebody has been marginalized and somebody has had a reduction in access to cannabis in Canada. Like, how the fuck does that happen, man? So I don't even want to read and get all pissed off. I do feel for you guys. I make some assumptions, and then as I go, I hear, and yeah. Anyways, it is what it is. I don't know what the mail order situation is like out there. I mean, they're not stopping the mail, and they're probably sure as shit not going to be able to figure out where it's coming from the same way they are right now with the moms. I hate to suggest that that's the only option for you guys, but again, I'm not encouraging, I'm not discouraging. I'm simply saying if you're finding access is an issue and you're a patient, well, then you maybe should be looking online because as gray or black as that market might be, you deserve access to medicine. And I think at the end of the day, that's not a controversial statement to make, and I don't think it's fair to say, well, it's fucking legal, therefore you don't have the right, or you shouldn't have legal access to a mom that is providing you with clean quality cannabis that can be tested and usually is. And if you request those tests and the analyses, I think you should have the right to self-medicate in that regard, because there's a lot of stuff that I personally wouldn't want to be forced to smoke, and if that's all you have where you're at, holy Jesus. Like, yeah, we got to get something out to you guys that is going to work. That's at the end of the day, that's, I think, only fair. If from a medical access standpoint, I mean, there's other fair ways to say it too. I mean, it's better cannabis, and the government is here to keep us safe, but also to get us access to quality products. And there's a lot of clean products out there that aren't quality, and there's a lot of clean products that I've had that are some of the best quality products I've had at organic, an organic level, where people are using vegan, not using bone meal even in their soils. They're creating vegan, organic, using ladybugs to eat shit, or other bugs that have proven better to eat other bugs. It's fucking amazing. Really cool shit going on. I guess it's a lot to do with scalability. I'm starting to rant now, but it's tough to replicate. Get 1 billion ladybugs into 1 million square feet, or whatever the fuck it is. I'm sure that's pretty tough. It's pretty tough to do when you've got 1 million square feet versus doing it in 1,000 square feet, 2,000 square feet, 10,000 square feet. Anyways, let's keep going here. I'm ranting. Just a announce from Tokebox. I hope they won't. I don't think they're going to close, man. And Tokebox, the reason being, Tokebox truly is that access to good cannabis, especially for rural areas. especially for areas with reduced access or possibly no access, municipalities that refuse to allow dispensaries or retail cannabis. For what reason, I don't know. Again, misinformation, a lot of it. Assholeness, some of it. But I mean, really, a lot of the next little while, the challenge is going to be not to kind of scream and yell and be like, what's wrong with you, you moron? It's more being able to take said moron and educate them a little bit and provide them with nuggets regarding cannabis as to, hey, well, here's why we want this in our community, and here's how it's going to help our community. And anyways, harm reduction. Cannabis will be legal on October 17th. So, Health Canada continues on to talk about health. Cannabis affects brain functions at all ages. It can be especially harmful for people under 25 because their brains are still developing. I'm not going to argue with that, I guess. The same can be said about other intoxicants, I guess. Cannabidiol, CBD, I don't think that should be lumped in with the same warning at that point. I mean, CBD is kind of shown to be no more toxic to the system than a fucking multivitamin, and there's some multivitamins that are far more toxic to the system than well, cannabis isn't toxic to the system. I guess that's the thing. You're not going to die from cannabis. You might die from choking on your tongue or throwing up and, being on your back or something like that. So, I mean, yes, you can die from side effects of cannabis, but you can't die from the actual THC itself. It's not going to kill you. CBD, in that regard, I don't think is going to be causing a shit ton of problems, even at massive, massive doses. And I mean, we have somebody here, or had somebody here that works in oncology, and it was probably experienced people taking upwards of 1,500 to 15,000, who knows, 10,000 milligrams of THC and CBD in an RSO type form. And it's, I don't know. It's not that we should be preventing our youth from, like, yes, I believe that we should be educating our youth the same way that we would with any kind of intoxicant or recreational drug. Yeah, I don't know. Health-wise, that's a big question mark for me because it doesn't separate THC and CBD. We need to do more research, I suppose. I don't know how and where and what I would have ended up like if I hadn't smoked cannabis when I was 15 onwards. There were periods where I didn't, but do I feel that because of cannabis, I don't, again, nobody can really say. Studies, well, maybe we'll start doing some of those to find out and put those myths to bed, because quite frankly, I feel quite functional for somebody that most people would call a stoner in most parts of the world. And the thing is, we need to educate people and stand up. And if there's people that are on this thread that haven't had a chance to yet, definitely come out of the green closet. It's a great place to be. Again, depending on where you're at, know your situation. I totally understand that we all don't live in Vancouver, that we all don't have parents that will either shrug it off or not kick you out of the home or not invite you back to family dinner or Christmas or some shit like that. So I get it. There's still a lot of pressures out there, but come out if you can, especially if you want to work in the industry. If you want to work in the industry, the only way the industry is going to find you is if you come out and say, hey, I'm here. I know what's going on. I can be a huge help to you guys. Safe communities. Adults can legally buy cannabis at private or government-run shops and online. They can carry up to 30 grams of cannabis in public. Smoking or vaping cannabis is allowed in most public spaces where you can smoke tobacco. Local and indigenous governments can further regulate cannabis. There are laws in place to keep your community safe. Get the facts. So, I mean, again, from a black market criminal standpoint, the fewer guys that have any reason to come rolling in with cannabis that also have cocaine and worse in their backpack. You know what? That's pretty fucking cool. Get the hell out of our communities. Absolutely. If you're a small grower out of Nelson that is doing things all above the board, you're just not scalable, or you're not at a size that, somebody can pay attention to or wants to pay attention to. Should you be under fire? Or should you? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And should you be lumped in with some unsafe bullshit? I mean, and that's a thing. I don't mind keeping our communities safe, but I think there's still a lot of misinformation for most people as far as what that really means, and not even so much what keeping it safe means, but what the fuck does unsafe actually mean? And unsafe isn't having cannabis as part of your community. Unsafe is making cannabis into something that creates an environment where you have to hide, you have to go somewhere else, you have to get behind the wheel of a car to comfortably, like, I mean, we live in fucking Canada. I'll be honest, I spent most of my university years behind the wheel of a car smoking a joint. Didn't get into any accidents. Is that a testament to driving under the influence of cannabis? No. What it is saying, though, is that we're once again putting ourselves in a situation where we're legalizing something. We're creating harm reduction around it that also creates a stigma that there's something extremely harmful about it, which there really isn't when we can just educate and prevent a few things. One of those things we can prevent, number one, is kids doing the same fucking thing I did back in the 90s. Which is have them driving around smoking cannabis because you fucking ding-dongs haven't figured out, you goddamn turkeys haven't figured out that people need a safe place to consume. What? And you think that what, by providing them with a fucking lounge in downtown Vancouver, that they're gonna drive there, smoke, get high and drive? Well, that might be the case, but you know what? At least you take out that little middle bit where they're behind the wheel fucking dabbing or vaping or smoking simply because they do not have a safe space to do it. Now, a 16-year-old, fair enough. You can't be condoning safe smoking spots for 16-year-old kids. Should anybody be behind the wheel smoke? No, absolutely not. I don't think active consumption of THC behind the wheel is a good idea. I'm not getting into where I weigh it on a scale between driving drunk and whatnot. This is going to be a tested topic, I'm hoping, a very well debated topic. But where I'm coming from is, if you want to get it off the streets, you need to provide people with some kind of fucking alternative, because being locked up in their parents' home, perhaps, where they're not allowed to smoke cannabis, or being locked up in up on a fucking mountain in Burnaby, for instance, not being able to smoke anywhere on campus, if that is the case, let alone inside, safe, warm. You know, we live in Canada. Canada, if you haven't fucking realized, gets pretty cold sometimes in the winter. You know, it's getting pretty cold out there right now. Where are people going to smoke? So get some lounges, get some fucking safe smoking spots where, you know, we're all not hiding behind dumpsters, or worse, having to. You're relegated to January in Edmonton, January from Hope to the tip of fucking Newfoundland in Canada. You are relegated to smoking cannabis in a vehicle. And this is the God's honest truth, because you can't smoke. Well, I mean, again, I'm inside of my own home, and that's where I do it. I'm lucky, though, in that regard. Some people have stratas that they have to be, like, it's insane. People are afraid of their strata. They're afraid of their neighbors, and rightfully so. If you're in a building that doesn't allow smoking, you know, like, again, I live in a bubble in Vancouver. I live in a very rad part of town with some very rad neighbors that, you know, not joke about, but it's like, can you open your windows? It's like, oh yeah, sorry, man. And it's like, oh, and here's another funny one. If you smoke or consume cannabis inside your apartment, and you have in your hallways white or whitish, why the fuck wouldn't you? I don't think anybody has like gray or black walls in their hallway. So next time you go out of your door, and if you haven't ever done this, look above your door, and you're probably going to see a bunch of fucking vapor trails of smoke that has leaked out. So that's how cool my neighbors are. They're like, hey, you know, the fire marshal's coming around. You know, why don't you go and wipe this smoke off the front of your door? And truly, this was probably about a decade's worth of smoke going up there. But yeah, I was like, holy shit. She's like, yeah, I was looking around and nobody else had that. So I simply assumed, and I'm like, yeah, you're right. That's 10 years of smoking dope inside. So check that out. Let me know if that actually exists on the outside of your walls. Safe homes. Adults can grow up to 4 cannabis plants per household. I was all tickled pink thinking I could go home to Edmonton and build a greenhouse on my parents' fucking lawn. And they have the space for it. That's a great part. And if they don't have the space for it, then I go over to my sister's place, who definitely has, we can make the space for it anyways. There's fucking 3-4 acres out there. Regardless, plenty of space for a greenhouse. I thought maybe I could start growing. growing everybody's, but it's per household. So, 4 cannabis plants per household. So, check that out. Let me know if that actually exists on the outside of your walls. Safe homes. Adults can grow up to 4 cannabis plants per household. Per household. I was all tickled pink thinking I could go home to Edmonton and build a greenhouse on my parents' fucking lawn. And they have the space for it. That's a great part. And if they don't have the space for it, then I go over to my sister's place, who definitely has, we can make the space for it anyways. There's fucking 3-4 acres out there. Regardless, plenty of space for a greenhouse. So, Yeah, so I can't garner 8 plants. I've got 2 people in my household, and I can still only grow 4. But again, if I start growing 4 plants in this place, we're probably in for some real trouble in 696 square feet or whatever the hell it is. Shit's gonna get pretty stinky pretty fast, which I don't mind, but this is probably where my neighbors do. Safe roads. Drug-impaired drivers will face serious consequences like fines, license prohibitions, and why are we using, I don't use that word, license prohibitions and jail time. Impaired driving is illegal. Get the facts. No comment. Safe travel. It's illegal to take cannabis across the Canadian border. Don't be stupid. Obviously, it doesn't matter whether you're leaving or entering Canada or what the laws of your destination are. Don't cross the border with cannabis. Common sense. Cannabis laws are different between provinces and territories. This includes legal age, where you can smoke, consume, and buy. Make sure you learn the laws before you travel. There are different regulations for non-medical and medical cannabis. Get the facts. So that's pretty much it. That's story time. The end. The end. There's a one-pager over here that talks about the Cannabis Act. Smoking with friends at their place is probably the best solution you can always have. Oh my God, what are we talking about here? Oh my God. Who needs help here? You need a bag is what you need. That is where they put in the place, Valleyfield. Oh yeah, all right, so that's why we need help. Ordinance from Toke Box. Yeah, Apollo's a great little place. I agree with that. That's here in Vancouver, a dispensary here in Vancouver. Holy God, Mima, we gotta chat. Ritalin and Ativan. Well, again, depending on who you are and whatnot, but yeah, I've seen some pretty crazy stuff with that. I've been focused on that before, but yeah, I can totally agree. Long-term use, I don't think is ideal for anybody if they don't have to be. Cannabis, I've seen help that as well. Not allowed to grow in Montreal either. Dude, I'm so sorry for you guys out there in Montreal. I'm going to start shutting her down here. I don't think there is too much outside of a bilingual pamphlet that probably goes more into the federal side of things and less the provincial side. It does touch on BC, but you know what? Enough of story time. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Get your copy now. Get cannabisclarity.ca. We've got 2 more sleeps, people. 2 more sleeps, and yeah, the shit is going to hit the fan. The celebrations begin, and you guys can start providing me with your feedback. Chris, man, stay medicated. Air Terror, Acevedo, Niku. I like that. Or Niku. Yeah, keep it real, guys. I'm going to try and get it as live as I can over the next couple of days. We've got a big night coming up on Wednesday. I'm going to see Cypress Hill in Vancouver here at Fortune Sound Club. So some cool shit happening. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for smoking with me tonight. And yeah, we'll see everybody tomorrow. I hope. If not, probably the night of legalization. Peace.